What's up YouTube, it's Chris from Team Orion, and here I've got for you my current Fiendsmith Memento deck profile. As you've seen on the rounds that are coming up, the live duels, I've been playing Fiendsmith Memento. I've really enjoyed it since about December time. I did abandon it to go onto other decks, but recently with Quarter Century Stampede making Angwitches and Bone Parties really cheap, I thought I'd pick it back up and enjoy it. I honestly enjoyed the combos that it can go through, the versatility, play through hand traps, the numerous different paths we can go through, and if you tune in later this week, I will show you some of the combos that you can go down based upon one cards, potential 1.5 card combos, and even a secret combo to go from just Fiendsmith Engraver into your Memento combo. But for now, this is just my deck profile. Once the sections are done, you'll see the main deck here, you'll see the extra deck here, and you'll see the side deck here. So we'll move on to main deck first. We'll go with 3 Memento and Anguish, 3 Memento and Tatsunoto Shigo, 2 Darkblade and 2 Goblin. These are your main starters for the deck. I debated playing more than 2 Darkblade, but to be honest, it can be quite a brick, especially if you get ashed on it. Similar to Anguish, I guess, but I really want to draw at least an Anguish to start off my turn, as well as a horse. Anguish you usually end with one in the grave anyways at the end of the combo, so you could potentially summon it out with Combine Creation. Goblin works sort of twofold in terms of this combination. We play 2 because I run a certain spell card that we'll get into later on in this deck, and it basically becomes the horse if push comes to shove. I draw this and nothing else. We'll move on to the one-offs. We've got Akahiron, Gatic, Sleepy, Mace, Horn Dragon, and Combine Creation itself. All of these I can't see personally playing more than 1. At most I could maybe see Sleepy being played at 2, just because it is so versatile, and in theory you might want to draw it to start off your combo and potentially go in draw phase with combination with Bone Party. I have debated playing double Combine Creation with Bone back, which will not be part of his deck profile, because in the end I don't think Bone Back's nearly as good enough by itself. Combine Creation, you make it by shuffling in 5 Memento monsters from your hand or graveyard into your deck or extra deck, so that includes extra deck monsters. It's a 5k attack and defense. If it's the only thing on the field, it can attack everything, and if your opponent activates a card or effect upon the next chain, you can activate Combine Creation to special any Memento from hand or grave during either player's turn. We'll move on to the spells for Memento. We've got 3 Bone Party, 2 Fusion, 1 Field Spell. I really like opening Bone Party with Combine Creation, or even like a Sleepy, or potentially an Akahiron, because then that sets up your graveyard potentially for further. So if you use Bone Party, destroy Sleepy, add special Anguish, you get a Search of Anguish to search the horse, as well as you get a Dump to Graveyard, which could be the Fusion. The Fusion is quite unique in the case of you can use monsters from hand or field, including Memento, but if a monster in your possession was destroyed by card effect this turn, you can shuffle in Mementos from your graveyard into deck as part of the Fusion material. I've currently had a look into potentially using this in combination with Silverhat Rabbit and Shadow Core to go into El Shadow Winder. Currently I haven't seen much success on it, because potentially when people see it, they usually either imperm the Silverhat Rabbit or get rid of Winder quite effectively nowadays. Just playing one Memento Trap in the main, Cranium Burst. I personally took it out as soon as Detonator and X Rizal came into the format in theory, because as soon as Detonator came out, this wasn't staying on the board to resolve. But now, potentially with Rizal getting a hit on the most recent ban list and Malice getting a boost, this potentially could stay on board long enough to make an impact. It essentially targets your combined creation, it loses 1,000 attack and defense, and negates a monster effect on the field. So it essentially makes your combined creation into an Appaloosa, which is currently forbidden, so that's not too bad. As for Fiendsmith, we're just playing pretty much a standard model: 3 Engraver, 1 Lurie, 1 Lacrima, 1 Tract, 1 Paradise. I don't think it needs to be more than this for this deck. You could argue a second track just to make sure you draw into it, but I want to see Engraver first. As a combo, I'll show you later on this week. This card just actually gets you into Memento by using certain cards I put into my extra deck. It's honestly, you've also got the powerful monsters of Caesar and Desiree in the first place. They're all powerful cards to begin with, so even if you set up full combo with Memento, you can still set up a Caesar or Desiree to potentially stop your opponent even faster. As for non-engine, we're playing 3 Ash, 3 Full Loss, 3 Droll. I've to be fair debated on even running Full Losses or mulch armies in this deck. It is really nice getting the draws, don't get me wrong, but sometimes you get stuck with all your one-offs that you want in the deck potentially drawn, like Gatic or Akihiron, that just stay in your hand if you're not careful. Droll's incredibly insane in this format, especially with Rizal and Mitsurugi Rizal. Ash is just good anyways against most decks. For spells, we're playing 1 Callby, 2 Goblin Biker Grand Breakout, and a Talents. Callby is just for, like, if I get drolled, for example, and I really need to continue further. It's just really good for that. Goblin Biker Grand Breakout's essentially a tag out. It tributes any monster for cost, then it specials a Goblin from my grave, which conveniently we have Memento Goblin, which can also start my combo. So say for example if they Nibiru me, or they have Nibiru'd me, I can at least use Grand Breakouts to tribute the Nibiru token in order to summon it. Talents is a bit of a weird one, especially now with being limited. I love the card. At the same time, it's very difficult for me to say whether it's worth it just at 1. I've had games where it's won me games. I've had games where it's lost me games. And finally, the 3 mainstays are free in perm. Yeah, I debated between potentially putting Ghost Bells in my main deck to counter Malice, and to be honest, they'd probably take over the Full Losses myself. So yeah, that's the main deck, as you can see popping up there. Now we'll move on to the extra deck. We have, for the Memento side, we have 2 combined, Creation Kings and 1 Twin Dragon. You make Creation King usually off the fusion spell. Upon summon it dumps 3 Memento cards from deck or edge deck to the graveyard. Then during either player's turn, it can target an equal number of Memento monsters and cards your opponent controls, destroys them, and it also, if it's in the graveyard, it can banish to search for the Memento field spell. So usually you dump one of these Creation Kings to the graveyard off a Creation King effect. Twin Dragon destroys a memento in your hand or face up on the field to add up to 2 memento monsters with different names from deck to hand. It's your main extender, really, that you summon off Sleepy using Gatic. I usually grab a Horn Dragon or Combined Creation. And it also, if it's destroyed by card effect, it can special a level 6 lower memento from my graveyard. So it's usually Sleepy that I'd summon back if I'm just started on like an Anguish combo. As for the Fiendsmith, we've got Moon, Requiem, Necroquip, Caesar, Sequence, Aerolita, and Desiree. Pretty much standard for Fiendsmith. Just any 2 effect monsters makes it into Fiendsmith combo. We got Necroquip here to make a Caesar, Sequence to make Desiree, but we're also playing Aerolita. So if we go off Engraver, we can shuffle in the Lacrima and the Requiem to summon this. This sends any feed from my deck to my graveyard. So you'll see this with a combination of Cross Sheep, how that makes a combo for you down the road next this coming week. Playing Guardian Chimera. Guardian Chimera comes up when you've set a fusion down for your opponent's turn during the main phase. So you use a monster in your hand and 2 monsters on the field. I mean, it's pretty good, to be fair. I can't complain. I'm personally playing a Bow. A Bow comes up when you have a lot of bodies to either banish to summon a light Dark from Grave. So say for example, if you use the Desiree as part of its material, you can discard a card, banish it till the end phase and summon back Desiree, so you can equip it with Sequence and this comes back. I've personally had games where this is stuck on the field long enough to stick to my standby phase, where because the amount of monster types we have in our deck, I drew 8 and put back 8 and it won me the game because I was able to custom build my hand. And finally we're playing IP and SP. I mean, setting up these 2 little cards is always great for any deck, to be fair. I've debated potentially putting in, like, these would be, IP especially would be my replacement for Scylla Hat Rabbit. I may look into that for the future, but for now this is where I've gone with a deck, as you can see here. Right, let's move on to the side deck. Right, so with the side deck, Freelancier, I mean, Malice is still a major problem out there, to be fair. Even though they can play with the Atagnista stuff, if they just draw Malice by itself, it's so awkward for them to try and play under. So similar, we've got 1 Bell and 2 Meows just to try and stop Malice from doing Malice things. We've got 2 Perulia for Rizal, Mitsu, or even Kashtira. Such an amazing card, and I think people undervalue it at times, but I've been seeing people playing Mitsurugi Rizal, or even Mitsurugi itself, just main decking 2 of these and 3 full loss. Honestly, just an amazing strat. 1 Resonator for time. So with the Fiendsmith combo, you can dump this off Aerolita, and if you've got Combined Creation on your field and this gets summoned off Cross Sheet, you can target the Combined Creation and you gain 5,000 life points for time. It's honestly pretty incredible. 3 Cosmic Cyclone and 1 Harpies. This is more for the Orion matchup. I personally don't like Orion as a deck, but I respect it enough where I know double Apophis can end turns, so usually I'll make sure I've got Harpies plus Cosmic to counter both. And a similar boat, Fracture Dance. This, if I control any Memento monster, I can target a card on the field, destroy it. If I have the Combined Creation, I can destroy another card on the field, which isn't too bad because it non-targets, so you can just pop anything you want. And finally, there can be only 1. I mean, this deck you end on illusions, fiends, worms, you end on all sorts, and especially nowadays, especially with Mitsu Rizal, with Malice, that are like Cyberse, reptiles, just locking them out of a certain type other than one monster can be quite detrimental for their deck. So you can see here, this is my side, and this is the end of the deck profile, to be fair. Like I said, I will potentially get into further deep deck combos as we go further down the week. But thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you guys later.